usually just put subtitles on videos, but it can feel kind of choppy trying to line up short thoughts and descriptions with video clips. So for a longer video like this, I wanted to just try a voiceover and see how it goes. Well, at the end of September this year, there was a pretty bad hurricane that hit my side of North Carolina pretty hard. Electricity, cell signal, and running water were wiped out, along with a lot of the roads and buildings in town. So we evacuated the area after a few days once we saw how bad the damage really was. And we came back to stay with family in Raleigh, but we didn't really bring much with us since we expected to be back a lot sooner than we were. I was pretty relieved to be able to shower, buy food, have clean water, just have all the normal parts of survivable life back. But after a few days, I started feeling pretty antsy. Despite having a lot more free time, since I wasn't working, didn't really have a schedule for the time being, the weight of being in full-on survival mode completely drained me of the will or focus to really work on any creative projects that I have going on. It's pretty frustrating that I was only able to pursue projects when I was already busy with my job, but now that I had more time, I just couldn't muster the effort to do anything. But I wanted to at least have some sort of documentation of that time period. So I just started taking video clips of whatever I was doing, especially if I was out of the house or doing something that might be a little more appealing to watch. We roamed around downtown for one afternoon, just tried to hit up some bookstores or vintage stores. I visited some of the neighborhoods that I used to live in. One of them felt mostly the same, and the park and creek that I used to go to all the time were still there. So that was pretty nostalgic. But another one I went to was a little depressing because half the houses I remember had already been torn down and replaced with much more expensive but more boring looking houses. And the rest were just seemed to be construction lots, already torn down or getting ready to be replaced. I saw a lot of my extended family that night for my grandmother's birthday, which was, as always, somewhat overwhelming. I haven't been back home for longer than 2 or 3 days since I've been an adult. I was really starting to feel it the longer I stayed. It's definitely easier to maintain some normalcy in family or any relationships when you're not around each other too much, but I was really starting to see the cracks come out, and I was really missing having my own space. We were thankfully able to get a little bit of a break. Came out to Wrightsville Beach and Wilmington for a short trip, which is something we had been trying to do for a lot of the rest of the year and just could never get our schedules aligned for it. But I prefer going to the beach in colder seasons anyway. I think it's just a lot more comfortable just to be outside, not being drenched in sweat and being a little gross boy for the rest of the day. we spent the afternoon walking on the beach and just messing around with my camera, trying to see how the pictures turned out. And then we drove off the island and came to downtown Wilmington to walk around and find something to eat. And we ended up finding this cool little hole-in-the-wall type Japanese place. Just had some nice seasonal decorations, and everything was pretty cheap, so that fit our little unemployed budget. When I was in maybe 6th grade, around 2006, the night before we were leaving for a overnight beach trip, I was watching some fan-made game videos on early YouTube, and one of them had this song playing, Send Me an Angel by Smile.dk. It's this kind of like Euro pop song of the era, and while we were walking around downtown that night, and that was my first time down there, I heard that same song playing outside of some bar or club or something, and I don't know why, but that just became a weird core memory for me. So whenever I'm back in Wilmington at night, it just reminds me of the early 2000s, and I think about that song. After wandering around for a little while by the water, we found this rooftop bar that was pretty big but mostly empty that night. It seems like kind of a height of summer touristy place, but it was just a completely different vibe, just pretty big and empty. And they had a dance floor with some not too loud music playing on one side. There was a small group of friends dancing there. Seemed like everyone was just in their own little pod there, but it was a nice night. The building was interesting too. There was this theater entrance on the same floor as the roof, and I don't know if that's something that's in use, but I think there was apartment units we passed on the way back down. Lots of key boxes locked all over the stairways. After the bar, we went back to the house we were staying at and put on the good old hotel TV special. Up some cheap film since I finished the last roll the day before. I tried a few shots in the coffee place we stopped in, but they turned out pretty dark, not too great, and some pictures I got outside later on were even darker. I don't really understand much about ISO or getting good exposure on film, but if I can, I try and buy higher ISO film to show up better in lower light, and I had a decent amount back home, but since we evacuated in kind of a hurry, I didn't bring any with me. I've been thinking a lot about documentation in the last few years. really just more as I get older. My life feels like it's going by so quickly, but without much happening. Days blend together because I'm not experiencing much variety, and I have a hard time breaking out of routines or mustering energy or enthusiasm for trying new things. And as far as working on creative projects, which is another form of documentation, or it's something that marks the passage of time, I've been pretty inconsistent and not finished a lot of what I've started. So I've been trying to find ways to better feel the passage of time, like doing seasonal activities, decorating seasonally, putting on music and background videos at home, specific for different times of the year or temperature, weather. Just trying to describe how a month or a time of year feels to me, and exploring art and music or movies or whatever that have the same feeling. And aside from activities, I've gotten more interested in documentation through pictures and videos, which is the reason I started this YouTube channel and why I've been getting into analog photography. I don't have many pictures or videos from college or my early adult life, and I don't like that I have this kind of long void without any records that I can look back on. And ironically, that time period started around 2013 when I first got a smartphone. So basically, as soon as I had easy access to a camera with me all the time. And it seems like this happened to a lot of people around that time. Before that, taking pictures and videos seemed more intentional, since you needed a camera or camcorder or whatever, and you had to bring that with you and to take it out and use it. It wasn't just something that you always had with you and kind of took for granted. But something about that intentionality seemed to make people use them more than they do with smartphones. When I was in high school, it was pretty common for friends to bring digital cameras to parties or events, and they would just take pictures and share full albums on social media, which doesn't really happen much anymore once smartphones became prevalent. It's just people would post maybe one or two pictures, or if they took anything at all. Or earlier than that, when I was a kid, my family would use camcorders and analog cameras a lot, and making home videos on camcorders was a lot more common in the 90s and 2000s, and those just kind of felt like the same vibe as pictures, just a moving picture. They just had that amateur look, and were used for the same purpose of just kind of documenting everyday moments. So I've been thinking a lot about what I liked from back then, just that kind of casual home video style. And so I've taken a lot more pictures and videos lately to try and keep record of each day or most days, just so I can kind of differentiate them in my head better, not have everything just blend together. And I started using vintage filters on things, and then I started getting into film photography, just to get that vintage look without editing. And I'm also trying to be more comfortable being in front of the camera instead of just behind it, which is a little easier and can be a little more anonymous. But I want to get over my fear of being seen or seeing myself from an outside view, and want to kind of be able to see myself change over time from the outside and not just inside, which is, it's easy just to be really in your head about all of that. So I've been working on this YouTube channel and just trying to get more pictures of me, pictures of other people, and just trying to be more comfortable with being seen. And that's also why I'm putting a voiceover on this video for the first time, to try and get more comfortable expressing myself, just kind of putting myself out there in a different way that I normally don't. Basically, I just feel really in my head a lot and often opt not to express myself because then my thoughts and feelings would be out there for others to see and hear and think things about, and judge or whatever. But feels pretty lame and kind of fragile of me to say that out loud, but it's been a real fear I have, and I often just tend to keep quiet. But I've found so many other YouTube channels or social media pages, blogs, and stuff like that that I've connected with because I resonate with what they're saying. We have a lot of shared experiences or similar thoughts, but I don't know, for some reason it's hard to think of other people being able to relate to me or to find my stuff interesting. The second week in Raleigh, there was an unexpected death in the family, so a lot more time for everyone was spent with family organizing the funeral and all the other complications and changes that come with that. And it was definitely hard for everyone and pretty overwhelming for me, especially since I already felt just so overwhelmed on a normal day with my family. And I had kind of conflicting emotions while I was trying to be helpful and present for people, but definitely needing my own space and privacy to recharge. So I was still feeling pretty unsettled and messed up about the hurricane at home, and my job, my loss of income, and just kind of all the unknowns and changes that I didn't know what to expect once I returned. I often ended up staying up really late into the night just because it felt like the only time I really had for myself where there wasn't expectations or obligations while being around other people. After the funeral, which was about 2 weeks since we first evacuated, we got word from our upstairs neighbors that our power and water were back on at home, so we started packing up to leave. And one of the last things we did was visit the Life and Science Museum in Durham, which was a spot I really liked as a kid. And it was nice that they were doing free admission for residents of hurricane-affected areas. We actually saw several people we knew from Asheville there at the museum, and it seems like a lot of people were at least temporarily relocating out to Raleigh. It's strange to see your home on the news or just being mentioned in other places. I don't normally have the news or anything on TV, but I would just see it in the background at restaurants or other places, and they would just be showing aerial footage of flooding and destruction and rescue efforts, and kind of showing the displacement of a lot of people. There's a lot of stuff that I hadn't even seen while I was in town, just because everything was so shut down, we couldn't really get around. I felt thankful to have another place to stay to wait out some of the aftermath, but I never felt like I really had the space to process everything, and I was pretty nervous to go back home and see how just everyday life would be different, because I didn't really know what I was going to be going back to. It was definitely a big ol' mixed bag of emotions. And though I didn't feel great about how little I was able to get done during this time, I'm glad I was able to follow through with finishing this video. And I wanted to have at least some small record of the time, so it wouldn't just be swallowed up into the void, which is how it felt then, with everything just kind of fading into the next day. It's taken me a lot longer than anticipated to put this all together and edit the video. And, it's mid-December now as I'm finishing this up, which has been about a month after I recorded all this. Things have been rough and continue to be, with lack of work and money, and I'm feeling pretty stressed about the future. But making this video has given me something creative just to chip away at. It's the first thing I've really been able to finish in a long time. So it feels like a good first step in how I'm approaching these videos and how I record my life. A little more personal and accurate to how I feel at the time. And I'll probably still make more silent vlogs because they're a little bit easier. Maybe just try out some different styles, but as long as I can keep getting more confident in just how I share my life and experiences. It feels strange to put this all out there to such a few subscribers and barely any views on any of these videos, but it's been worth it to me to create something during a bad time and just put my honest feelings out there for someone to hear. So if you've gotten through this video, just had it on the background or listen to the audio when driving or whatever. Thanks for listening to me ramble for a while, and hope you were able to connect to me in some way.